Hello and welcome to Master Tech Corner. I'm your host, Brad Watkins. I'm a Master Diagnostic Technician at Volkswagen North Scottsdale. Dealer code 422231. Today I'm going to talk about a Volkswagen throttle body. Volkswagen's used throttle bodies since we started. The only difference from then to now is back then they used a cable. All the way up until about 99 to 2000 range, we switched to an electronic drive throttle body, or a drive-by-wire. Now the electronic drive throttle body is really cool. It's got a lot of safety features built into it. So since we don't have a cable connected to it, it's actually controlling it. It uses electronic signals from the ECM and the throttle pedal. The safety features are really good because if you get into a situation where one of the sensors in the throttle body is not working correctly or the throttle pedal is not working correctly, it'll go into a kind of a limp home or safety mode where it won't let the vehicle accelerate past a certain point, and you can safely get to where you need to go at a slow rate. Now, it won't let the throttle run away or anything like that. It'll go into a safety mode. Now, the throttle body is built of a few different parts. You have the throttle body itself, the whole body. You have the throttle plate. You have the electronic drive motor. You have the gearing assembly, which is gear reduction from the motor to the throttle plate. And you also have two sensors inside that throttle body. Now, I'm going to get into the inner workings of the throttle body here in a minute. I'm also going to talk about diagnostic procedures that will help to figure out if you have a throttle body issue or if you have a throttle pedal issue, depending on the faults. You can also check faults. Obviously, you go to ECM and Otis and see if there's any faults. If you do have any faults, you can do diagnostic procedures based on those. So, we're going to get to it. Okay. So here we have a Volkswagen throttle body. This is off of a 1.8T engine. Now you can see the actual throttle flap or throttle valve itself. Okay. Now under this cover you have the connector for it. You have power and ground that supply power and ground to the motor. The motor is activated by the ECM, and that spins this gear here and it moves G187 and 188, which are the resistors. Now these resistor sensors are opposite resistance, and you can see right here as they sweep across the resistor pads they will alternate resistance, so one will go up and one will go down. The electric motor itself sits into the housing here. And it's gear reduction. So as the motor spins and moves the throttle plate, open or closed, okay. So here I wanted to demonstrate the correlation between the accelerator pedal and the throttle plate. So when you start pressing down on the gas pedal, or accelerator pedal, it'll start opening and closing the throttle plate. So if you do it fast, the motor speeds up in the throttle body and it opens the throttle plate fast. Let off, closes fast. Push down fast. So depending on your throttle position of your accelerator pedal, it will open and close the throttle plate accordingly. Okay, now we're going to do some diagnosis of the throttle body. I have Otis hooked up to the vehicle. We got a 2010 Jetta 2.5. Key is on. So we're going to access the ECM. Control module OBD. First, I like to do a basic settings of the throttle body. So if you have any type of hesitation, or sometimes you will get a code for basic settings incomplete or basic settings not ready, you can try basic settings just to make sure that will fix the issue. If not, then further diagnosis may be required. So we go to basic settings, then you go to 60 and enter that. It'll bring up this window here. So you can make this one bigger at the bottom. You hit activate. got an error fault. So what do we have an error? So, go to measure values. We're going to look at battery voltage. Battery voltage right now is 9.87. So, one thing you need to check before starting is battery voltage. If you have low battery voltage, it'll cause throttle body issues also. Where, along with basic settings, it can also cause other issues when starting, because you need a good battery voltage to the throttle body for proper operation of the throttle plate. So let's check the battery, charge it up, and we'll come back and test it again. Okay, we're back. Now, we got the battery on a maintainer, maintaining 13 to 14 volts. So we're going to go back. We're going to run basic settings 60 again. Alright, as you can see, we got a full throttle body adaptation. Shows basic setting adaptation okay. Another good measure value to look at when you're doing a throttle body diagnosis is 62. 62 is a reading of the percentage of the throttle body resistors and also of the throttle pedal resistors. 62.1 and 62.2 are the throttle body resistors, and 62.3 and 62.4 are the throttle pedal resistors. So if you press on the throttle pedal, you notice the values change. Now the throttle body resistance values are opposite each other. The throttle pedal resistance values are 1/2 of each other. So 62.4 is going to be 1/2 of 62.3. So when you let off the accelerator, values drop down. So this is the same as doing a check in 60. You want to go slow when you're pressing on the accelerator pedal and letting up on the accelerator pedal, so that you can monitor the percentages and make sure they're not jumping rapidly or changing when they shouldn't. So here we have iWire. I brought up a 2011 Jetta 2.5. I went into the search tab up here at the top, G338. Brought the throttle drive control module up right here, G338. That consists of the electric motor, G186, the throttle position sensor, G69, the throttle drive angle sensor 2, G188, and the 6-pin connector here. Gives you the connector view, which is great. So if you need to do any pinouts or anything like that. You can also look at the top. Pulls up the T60 connector, which is going to be at the ECU. If you hover over these, it'll give you the pin location of each wire, which is really, really good. You need to do any wiring pinouts there. So if we look at the throttle drive here, the green wire, which is a 1mm wire, is going to be the power to the throttle drive motor. You have the brown and lilac wire right here, which is also a 1mm. That's going to be the ground to the electronic drive motor. Then you have the yellow and brown, which is a 0.35mm wire, which is going to be the signal from G69. Then we have the lilac and black, which is a 3.5mm wire. That's going to be the 5-volt reference from the ECM to the sensors, G188 and G69. We have the white and blue wire here, which is a 0.35mm. That's going to be the signal from G188. And then right here, this lilac wire is going to be the ground for both sensors, G169 and G188. All of those connect directly to the ECM, right here, J623. So they get power and ground from the ECM. And no other fuses are located with that. There we have the throttle drive control module using iWire.